I'll go ahead and get record. And welcome everyone officially to the Mass Effect Squadmate tier list. Now I've been playing through the Legendary Edition a little bit. I played through 3 on my YouTube channel. Haven't done anything with the new remake on the YouTube channel other than a first impression video. Which, overall, I'd say I'm really enjoying it. I might do something with it later. I have a little bit of a wacky idea. We'll figure out what I end up going with that. But I figured I finished 1, just about finished 2, and I've played 3 so many times that I have a good enough feeling for it anyway. So, I did see they redid Tali's face in 3. That is right, Kipsu. I was really happy to see that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the tier listing, but I think with Squadmates, just going in alphabetical order, that's a little bit boring, and I didn't want to just do that normally, so I want to mix up the order of how we end up choosing these Squadmates. So, what I did, I have a wheel. Oh, yes. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to spin the wheel. Whatever squadmate we land on, we're going to be talking about. Now, I included Legendary Edition and Andromeda, so the main trilogy and Andromeda. So I will go ahead and describe my experience with the games. I started playing the original trilogy in 2013. I have played through the games multiple times on end. Different variations. Well, actually, more or less played the same, actually, but different classes. Tried to mix up the rotation of my squad mates after the 15th time of only bringing Tali and Garrus with me. So I've tried to get a pretty good grasp on the squad mates. I've come to appreciate a lot of them more with my future playthroughs, so I guess that's a bit... We're getting a bit too early about how I'm going to rank these guys. And I have played Mass Effect Andromeda a grand total of 1 times. I played it when it came out. I tried replaying it, but I just couldn't be fucked to continue. This should have been every smashable character. Yep, the Wheel of Fate returns dry. You got it. So, we're going to go ahead and spin... Oh, fuck off. Okay, cookies are gone. Let's spin the wheel. We got... Okay, Samara! Let's go, Samara! We'll go ahead, remove her from the name. Let's look at the list. Let's find her first off. There she is. Justicar Samara of the Asari Order. First appears in Mass Effect 2. I'm trying to think. I guess I should explain how I'm going to rank them. How they are in combat. It's not the primary way I'm going to rank them. Although, I might factor that in a little bit, based on my preference. Can you smash them? I'll get into who you can or cannot smash. I'm mainly basing it off of how much I enjoy their character, their plot development, how consistent they've been throughout the games, or the one game that they might be in, depending on which one, and just how much overall I enjoy just everything about them, personality design, all that. So, got a couple things going. When's the Dogboat server Among Us tier list coming out? We gotta play a bit more Among Us first, and Among Us is... It's not dead, but it's a dead meme, so I don't know about that. So, Samara. I do like a lot of things about Samara. Her story arc is interesting, how she becomes a Justicar to track down and kill her psychopathic murderer daughter. That's pretty fun. That's pretty interesting. They do a lot with her too. I feel in 3 they don't have that much for her, really, which is a bit of a shame, because I think she has a lot to go there. So it's either I'm torn between the C tier and the B tier. I'll have to go ahead. I'll go ahead and do B tier. I think that feels about right. That winner of 60s Man Alive 2020, Mr. Dogboat. It is. How you doing, Jaden? I play Mass Effect for the plot. Dogboat proudly. Let's see. I like her arc. You can get close. You can try to romance her in 2. It doesn't really work out because she has her duties and all that. But you can come back. I think in the Citadel DLC, try to continue things, and that's kind of cool. So that's I'm trying to think what else to talk about Samara. She doesn't have much of a presence in 3, which is a bit of a shame. She shows up for the one mission. She can kill herself if you don't hit the interrupt. If not, her arc feels pretty well completed. I mostly enjoy her arc and how it turns out. It's just she doesn't do too much after you meet her at the Ardak Sanctuary. You talk to her on the Citadel once or twice. I think you have one opportunity to talk to her once you see her. And then you see her on Earth on the hologram thing. So, not the most impactful squad mate, but I enjoyed her a lot. No, that's Morinth. That is Morinth. If you end up saving Morinth instead of Samara, you don't see Morinth in 3 at all, except at the end when she turns into a husk. She also... I don't think most Mass Effect people will get that, so I don't know if I can repeat that. But, let's go ahead and go to the next person on the wheel. Let's see who we got. Oh. Okay, Cora! Woo! Alright. Cora, I think I actually romanced her in one game I did of Andromeda. I don't quite remember why I picked her. She's romanceable. If you're a male rider. She trained with Asari Commandos, and I remember that because she always fucking brought it up every time you talked to her, it seems. I'm trying to think what else is there. Her loyalty mission is okay. She's kind of upset that she's not Pathfinder, but she kind of immediately gets over it, so there's not too much there. She has a nice ass. I don't really know. There's not too much I can say about her, honestly. It's funny because I romanced her, so you'd think I'd feel a bit more in tune with her, but I really don't remember her. Whether that has to do with her writing or Andromeda's writing as a whole, something more, something less. Hell if I know. I just know I think probably a D tier. That feels about right. D tier. Hydrate. Thanks for looking out, buddy. Suvi was my favorite romance. Okay. Yeah, I only really fully played through Andromeda once. All the other romances I've kind of seen on YouTube. They're not bad. It's like a Mass Effect has worse character writing than TNO, correct? The new one, yeah. The original trilogy is pretty good overall. It's just Andromeda. It's not the same guys. It's different. So there's not too much to say about Cora, so let's go ahead and move on. Who do we have coming up next? Oh, another one. Okay. PB. Okay, fuck. Okay. PB. And that's PB. I remember what she looks like. Mass Effect Andromeda's answer to Liara. Archaeologist, and just instead really hyper. She had the gun pointing backward, aimed backwards in that one badly animated cutscene. Romanceable if you're a male or a female. So you have that option going for you. If you're interested. I don't think I was, but, whatever floats your boat. I I remember more things about PB. I remember it being a bit more dynamic. I don't know if I necessarily enjoyed her when I played the game. And maybe if I replayed it, I might think she's annoying. I don't know. But, C or D? I can't really decide. So I'm just gonna if I can't decide between the higher or lower, I'm gonna put her in lower. Oh, and by the way, I will explain this before we get further. The order of the pictures here doesn't mean shit. It's just whatever order I put them in. This isn't a high D and this isn't a low D or anything like that. I'm just organizing them however the hell. What are the officials' options? What do you mean by that? Oh, officials' opinions. What do you mean? Yeah, I can't really speak that much about Andromeda, I'm realizing. So hopefully we'll get someone who can talk about it a little bit more coming up. Oh, it's going to be close. Ooh, just missed out on Tali. Let's go for Thane. There we go. Thane Krios. Dreamy Drell assassin. All-around bad boy. Dead. Appears in Mass Effect 2. Also appears in 3 if he survives a suicide mission. Very... I'm trying to think. His loyalty mission is fun. I enjoy how you track down, help his son. Stop him from going down the same path he did. The whole Drell thing where he has perfect memory and William Shatner's all over the place. I think that's a neat touch. The dying angle is very interesting to explore, but in 2, you get a sense into his spirituality and how he balances being assassin and a man of the spirits, the gods. I'm not quite sure the right term for it. But very compelling character in 2. Probably one of my favorite picks. Remember, I think he has like sniper rifles and SMGs as loadout weapons, which kind of stands out to me because it's a bit of a weirder mix, but it's interesting. And then in 3, he has a nice arc, assuming he makes it there, where he sacrifices himself. His death scene still gets me a little bit. It gets me a little bit in the feel. So, I'm trying to think anything else. There's a romance for Femshep, which you can go and pursue if you are so inclined. I don't think I have directly, just because I know what happens in 3, and that just... Thematically, it's kind of it's a beautiful romance. It's, those tragic, Shakespearean-esque type deals. But... So if you're into that, you definitely have that option. That said... I never pursued it, but I've seen the clips. I think it's a pretty good one. So I'm going to go ahead and put Mr. Krios in the A tier. So here we go. First A tier pick. Still got to fill the F tier, the C tier, and the S tier. Wonder where I've seen that one before. I don't know. Where have you? If your romance to me shows up as a kind of ghost force thing. Alright, yeah. Yeah, he has a pretty neat appearance in the Citadel DLC, which is nice because of there are 3 characters that are kind of more or less doomed to either die or go into obscurity. We'll get into them as we kind of get into them, but Thane feels most developed out of all of them because you have his funeral scene, and if you romance him, you see his ghost. That's pretty cool. Foxen, how are you doing, my friend? Nice to see ya. Not quite sure what that Russian means, but I hope it's something nice. I don't know. But yeah, Thane Krios. A tier squad mate. So let's see. I did not get rid of some more on this list. Let's go ahead and do that. I don't have Morinth. I just realized, isn't Morinth in this list? I'll add Morinth real quick. Let's see who we got. Oh! Ashley Williams, come on down. Means a beloved town. That's what that meant. Okay. Alright, Ashley Williams. I've grown on her a lot since the first time I played her. I just thought, first time I played her, I just thought usual. Oh, she's a space racist. She's not cool. And then, you know, there are a couple people in the first Mass Effect who are space racist. You have Rex, the Asari counselor, the whole council, kind of. Maybe not the Asari one, but you have a lot of space racism, not just coming directly at it. Rex, kind of Garrus. There's a bit of space racism going on throughout the galaxy. And I don't know if it's space racism rather than just space being uninformed or just not having that much experience out in the galaxy. It's her first time really dealing with aliens. She has that whole history where the Turing, you know, her granddad was the only general to surrender to alien forces, and so it kind of ruined her legacy. So she's kind of a bit upset at that, and she's trying to redeem her family name. So I've grown on her a lot more than I have before. That said, full disclosure, I have never let her get off of Vermeer. I actually have never let her get off of Vermeer. Which, part of me regrets not experiencing it, but from what I've seen of her in 3, her character just doesn't feel quite right in 3. Space race is more cool if it got tentacles. Probably, yeah. Yeah, the first contact horror was 30 years or so before in the Mass Effect series, in the when Mass Effect 1 is about 30 years difference. So still a little bit of a sore wound, you know, or a sore spot, I guess. I think Ashley's in her strongest in 1. Both Ash and Kane are kind of low points in 2, and then I don't necessarily like what they do for her in 3. She kind of feels a bit disconnected. They do a bunch of different things with her character that I don't really know if I like. So, I'll put her in C tier. I haven't fully been able to experience her arc, so maybe it makes more sense in context. I will fully admit that, but as it is, C feels right. I know some people put her way higher and some people put her way lower. I get the reasons for both. Reminds me, romanceable by male Shep in 1 and 3. It's an okay romance. I don't like any of the romances in 1, just because they feel a little bit... You can accidentally romance someone and then put you in awkward situations, and I never really liked that. I never really liked the romances in 1 at all. 3, they all feel a little bit better, so by proxy, the 1 3 feels a bit better and more connected to me. Purple Chick Hot, I learned that from thumbnail making. Exactly. Exactly. You got that. We'll get to her eventually. So, we'll go ahead, spin that wheel. Spin, 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 spin. Who do we got? Purple Chick, Purple Chick, Purple Chick! Let's go! Tali, come on down. Now, this is my main squeeze right here. Woo! Tali Zora. First appearance in 1. Also appears in 2. Also appears in 3. One of the 2.5, we'll say, 2.5 squad mates that you will have in your party throughout the entire trilogy. No matter what. I'm putting her at the top. I appreciate her arc a lot, from the awkward, plucky kid out on a pilgrimage trying to prove herself. Feels like she's in her father's footsteps and feels like she has to live up to him and the expectations that she has on him. Then in 2, you see how that pressure to follow up to expectations. She's her own woman, but at the same time, she lets herself be held back. And you see that in her loyalty mission where she's willing to throw herself under the bus to save her father, who is doing some fucking horrific experiments on the Geth. And you see that she's willing to throw herself under the bus and get exiled to save him. Now, you can choose not to do that. You can choose to get her exiled or save her and throw her dead dad under the bus, or do neither and manage to clear her name without showing any evidence. You got a couple options, and her loyalty mission is pretty dynamic in that regard, and I like that. It's also really important in the next game. Tali is one of these characters that has a lot of impact throughout the series. If she ends up dying in 2, that's going to be really, really bad, because it's going to complicate things with the Geth Quarian arc. Which in 3, she's pretty much her own woman. She's an admiral, she's come on top, she feels the pressure, and she kind of figures out that she has to start standing up for herself for the sake of herself and her people. And it's a really nice development, and it's nice to see her evolve as a person. You have the whole Quarian dynamic where she is stuck with the mask. If she takes her mask off, or if someone coughs on her, or if she gets a tear in her suit, she'll probably die because her immune system is so weak. So there's always that interesting dynamic. She's a pretty good window into the Quarians at the start in the first game. She smashed Shepard, exactly. That gets into the romance. You can romance her in Mass Effect 2 and continue in Mass Effect 3. Tali has always been my main romance for my male Sheps, so I'm a little biased, I will fully admit that. But I've always really appreciated her arc. Romance has probably some of the consistently best writing throughout only 2 games. But compared to, I think, all the other romances, I think it's probably the most consistent. Her final goodbye still fucks me up a little bit. When you tell her, go back to Rannoch, build yourself a home. She's like, I have a home. Come back to me. That gets me every fucking time. God damn it. Now, as an actual squad mate, she might not be the best, I'll fully admit. She has pistols and shotguns. Shotguns aren't really the best because she doesn't have that much health. I like energy drain. The rest of her abilities are kind of useless. Let's talk about her story in 3. So depending on how the Quarian Geth War ends, if the Quarians end up losing that and dying, she can die. She will throw herself off a cliff, and they trick you into thinking you can save her with a Paragon interrupt option, but you can't do shit if that happens. She has a very dynamic arc. There's a lot of ways that Tali can go. She can die in the suicide mission. She can die in 3. She can make it to the end. There's a bunch of options, and that's something I like about Tali. It's she has a very dynamic game potentially, and I really enjoy that. Plus, she has a nice ass too, so that always helps. That always helps. So, I think that's enough time spent on. Let's see. I don't give the story, but I'll stay from the memes. There's a lot of ways for her to die. Yeah, quote that. That's gonna be good. Let's go ahead. Spin the wheel again. Who do we got? Oh. James Vega. Let's go. Alright, James. I guess this is a somewhat unpopular opinion that I'm going to say. Appears in Mass Effect 3. only Mass Effect free. He does have his own standalone anime, which I actually did watch. I don't watch anime at all, really, but I did track down the anime to watch it to try to get a better appreciation for James. Although, spoiler alert, I've always had a pretty good appreciation for him anyway. This dog is not about looks with Tali, it's what underneath the suit. Exactly. Well, what you can see is also nice. They have a standalone anime, sort of. They have a anime movie starring this man, James Vega. Takes place between 2 and 3. It kind of explains how he got to the big story that you kind of see. That he talks about in 3 a little bit. What kind of budget is this? James is a bro, exactly. I really like James, actually. I know a lot of people don't like him. And there are some reasons that I hear that, and I think, okay, fair enough. James is very much a new player-friendly squad mate. He's the guy who you have to explain everything to, because it's the 3rd game in the trilogy, and you're probably getting new people coming in for this 3rd game who haven't played the other 2. So you need someone who'll explain everything to him, so you can explain everything to the new players. That said, I think the role that he plays in that is pretty good. He feels, at first, a little bit out of place. He asks, wait, why the hell are we going out to do stuff? Shouldn't we be staying on Earth? You have a bit of a conflict, but he figures out, you know what? I get it. We have to do what we have to do to save the galaxy. And you get to learn about him a little bit. He's a bit of a jarhead at first. Bit of a tough guy. He's fond of nicknames. He's fond of nicknames. If you're playing the female Shepard, he'll be doing a lot of flirting with you. Although you can't actually romance him, except sort of in Citadel, which I think is interesting. He actually gets a little uncomfortable if you want to pursue anything further, which I think is kind of... It's a nice little play, because usually everyone is kind of, you know, pushing to get with Shepard, it seems. But James is like, let's keep this professional. Now, that can change in the Citadel DLC. If you're a femme Shep, you can have a little stand with him by the end of the party. But yeah, I guess we'll get into the anime a bit, because the anime is the only third-party Mass Effect content I've really consumed, other than a few of the free comics that they throw in with certain editions. Yeah, Jarhead's a slang for Marines. So he saves a colony from the Collectors in between, right in the game. It's in the timeline. It's right around 2 when you're going off to fight the suicide mission. There's an attack on, was it Fel Prime, something like that, and he watches his entire squad more or less die. He has to make some tough calls. Partially ends up getting his own squad killed because of the decision he makes to get data that could help defeat the Collectors. Now, unfortunately for him, Shepard already finds a way to defeat the Collectors. And so that data kind of feels, you know, you got it for nothing. And so he has some questions on whether he can lead again. He still has some stuff pent up from that. He also has, I think, undeniably some of the best, some pretty funny lines. He has some great dialogue with Garrus. I always bring him along for the Geth Dreadnought mission whenever I'm romancing Tali, because he has some funny lines reacting to Shep and Tali flirting. He doesn't know what's happening, then Edie pipes in and tells him that they've been romancing. He's like, I didn't need to know that. Never mind. I get why people don't like James, but I do. I personally do. Now, he only has 1 game to be fully developed, so he can't go too much higher. But that said, what is there I think is good enough. So yeah, we'll go ahead and move on from there. Back to the wheel. What do we have today? Is it Zaid? Zaid! Zaid goddamn Masani. Here's the thing, I like Zaid, but there's not too much to like necessarily. He appears in 2. He's one of the DLC characters originally with 2. I think you needed the, what was it? There's like some Cerberus BS code program where you got some free DLCs if you bought a new copy, and eventually they just released it for free. And then with the Legendary Edition, it's included automatically. So because of that, they can't really get these grand cutscenes, so they have to kind of improvise, and he feels a bit less developed than the other squad mates for that reason. Same with the other DLC, Squadmate 2, which we'll get into eventually. But what's fair is okay. I like his loyalty mission. You're going after his partner who left him for dead and took his merc group away from him. He tries to blow up a refinery to try to get to him, and you actually have to choose whether to save the refinery or go after them and ensure his loyalty. Now, if you go after to save them, there are a couple ways it can go. He'll be pissed off, and he won't be loyal, or you can do a speech check, and you'll convince him, put it behind you, the mission comes first, stick with me, and he'll be loyal. Or, if you finish a suicide mission, you can leave him for dead. I think that's a pretty nice touch. So, he has a lot of fun stuff in 2. I like his gruff persona. I like how he's just kind of an asshole. There's not really any... He's a funny asshole, and it's not like he's kind of a bad person. Not evil, but just kind of, he's a merc. He's a gun for hire. I like how he's in... There are some good lines there. Compare that to the other ones where they, compare to the other squad mates where they have, some deeper backstory. And Zaid kind of has that to a degree, but Zaid's kind of a simple guy. He's a merc. He's a hired gun. And, yeah. My only problem is how he's handled in 3, which he shows up for a side mission, which if you don't have the DLC for, it'll just proceed as normal. It'll just make sure you can get both assets instead of having to choose between one or the other. Same with one of the other squad mates. So he's not very impactful, and you don't get to see that much from him as he develops necessarily. So he doesn't have a full, fulfilling arc conclusion in 3 compared to the other ones. Do I need to remind you of one of your curse quotes? You probably do, because I don't remember what it is. So you'll have to remind me. But yeah, I'll put him in C tier. I like Zaid. There's just don't have too much to like him for. But with that said, let's spin that wheel. Oh, Rex. Shepard. Rex. Shepard. Or not Rex, ladies and gentlemen. Appears in 1, only have him as a squad mate in 1. Appears in 2, appears in 3. One of these squad mates where I also... how do I put it? He has a pretty fully developed arc. I don't know about you, but my mask is getting affected right now. Oh yeah, that's not cursed. That's funny. I like that one. He has a pretty good arc throughout the series, I'd say. He starts off as another sort of a gun for hire. He's a Krogan. He's kind of jaded with his people because they've just been kind of forced out of the planet, and like him, he's kind of become a merc. But he does it more not out of a sense of credits, but just because there's nothing else he can do. And he's run out of hope for his people. And when you're fighting on Vermeer, and he hears about the cure for the genophage, which is a plague that is slowly killing his people and causing tons of stillbirths and just not a good time in general, he gets pissed off and said, Shepard, we can't fucking destroy this. Why are we going to do that? Now, you're put in this tough predicament because if the villain's doing it, he's going to breed a evil fucking clone army if he cures the genophage. But you see how it affects Rex. And it can go a couple ways. You can either shoot him, or Ashley will shoot him, or if you helped him out a little bit with his issues, one of his side missions, or if you just have a high speech check, you can keep him around. And he will bite his tongue and admit you're right and say that we'll do what we have to do. And then in 2, if he's still alive, he'll appear on Tachanka. He decided to go back, and he's working to help unite his people. And it's a nice development to see. He's kind of taken a bit of responsibility, inspired by Shepard to take up a leadership role. And so he started to do that. And you see that in 3, how that develops, how he wants a cure for the genophage if he's going to send the Krogan to help save Palvin and all that. And what I like about the Rex arc is that it can go differently based on whether or not you cure the genophage or not. If you cure the genophage, he's your bro. He will hold you up as a hero for Krogan people. You're going to lead them into a whole new renaissance, a new cultural renaissance. You're saving the Krogan people. If you don't cure the genophage, if you sabotage the cure and possibly have to shoot Morden or whoever else, he will try to fucking kill you because not only have you screwed his people, his kids were never born because of you. And it's pretty rough. He's also a squadmate in the Citadel DLC, which is pretty fun. And I like that a lot. It makes sense why he's not a squadmate as well in 2 and the base game of 3. So, S or A tier. Can't romance him. Unite his people. Last time someone tried to do that, they had to fail art school first. Jesus Christ, dude. You know what? S tier. S tier. Feels about right for Rex. Now let's go ahead and spin that wheel again. Oh. Edie. Woo! Let's go! The Enhanced Defense Intelligence? Or something like that? I forget the exact abbreviation. Starts off as your AI in the Normandy, in the new Normandy SR2 and 2. And in 3, she gets a body. She uses that robotic corpse to try to kill you and whoever survived Vermeer. And uses it to become a more fully mobilized reconnaissance unit. Now, is the design ridiculous on the new body? A little bit. Sex bot, whatever you want to say. Am I going to complain about it? No, I don't really care that much. Looking at the art, I like how, I like Edie a bit in 2 because, it's an AI, it's Cerberus. You don't know if you could trust her or not, but as the game kind of goes along, she saves your ass from a collector's raiding the ship, Joker's ass. The rest of the crew is a little fucked, but she saves the ship, she saves Joker, and she makes sure that you can stay on your mission. She helps you out throughout your journey against the collectors. She starts to grow on you, and then she gets a body. And you get some really interesting questions on AI and the purpose of life and whether there really is a purpose. There's also the whole Joker-Edie romance arc that you can choose to encourage or discourage, and that's a pretty interesting one too. She has some of my favorite lines. My The best line out of a trilogy, I enjoy the sight of humans on their knees. If you don't know the context of that line, just imagine it. You're probably not thinking of the right thing, but the fact that you had to imagine something is pretty funny to me. So, I say A tier. That feels about right for Edie. So, yeah. Not romanceable. But you don't need a romancer. Let Joker have some fun. Not too much fun, and we don't want him to break any bones, but let him have some fun. So let's go ahead and spin that wheel. Oh, Jacob! Woo! Alright, Jacob Taylor. Now, a lot of people usually put him at the bottom of their tier lists. I kind of get that. Am I going to do the same? Not quite. I never really disliked Jacob. He's always kind of been there. He first appears in opening minutes of 2. He's one of the first 2 squadmates you have. And so he kind of explains to you, oh, hey, yeah, you've been dead for 2 years. We rebuilt you. You're working with Cerberus now. And so it's hard to really... There's not much to say about Jacob. His loyalty mission is a little underwhelming. You find out his dad has set up this whole fucked up Lord of the Flies situation where he's, his crew. He forces his crew to eat food that degenerates their brains. Treats the women as pets or toys or slaves, and then exiles the men. Has the officers kill. It's a whole fucked up thing. Jacob doesn't really seem to care about it much. Doesn't seem to be too much investment there. If you play FemShep and if you try to talk to him, you'll flirt with him when you don't mean to, which is kind of annoying. As someone who's been playing FemShep a fair bit recently. I don't really talk to Jacob much anyway, but I don't really talk to him with FemShep just because you're forced into flirting with him. It's a little awkward. You can romance him in Mass Effect 2. It's not very good romance, I'm not gonna lie. It's more funny than it is anything. The prize. That's a funny line. I'm glad that's in, just for it. The fucked up thing about the romance is in Mass Effect 3, he not only leaves you, he cheats on you after about 6 months, moves on to someone else, and that woman is already pregnant by the time you meet up with him again. Which, mix that in with, it's a little unfortunate that they decided to do that with the character who happens to be black. It's some kind of unfortunate connotations there. That's in a weird way. I kind of respect that BioWare did this, because who really who romanced Jacob? Who the fuck romanced Jacob? He gives a shitty explanation for it, but Jacob's romance was more of a shitty. It always seemed like a corny ass one night stand anyway. So, I kind of respect the balls of decision to do it. Now, it kind of hurts his character, and if you actually, for all the 4 people who liked Jacob in that romance and want to continue in 3, it's a pretty big smack on the fucking face for him. So I do apologize for that. If you guys did like Jacob for that. I'll say one thing about that. At least it's something interesting about him, because there's not much else. That said, can I justify putting him in F tier? I don't think so. Because I don't think there's anyone in the original trilogy who really deserves to be in F tier. I think there's enough with them that makes it kind of interesting. I think you can. Oh, we'll get... There's no one in the original trilogy. We'll get into if there's anyone in the other game. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So Jacob, I mean, I never really hated him. I never romanced him. I more just kind of respect what they did in a weird writing way. I don't know what they were thinking. But in a weird way, I kind of... Yeah, it took balls to actually decide to do that. So in a weird way, I'm not that... I kind of dig it in a weird way. And if you don't romance them, you know, you have the weird distant bro thing, which doesn't really work as well as with other characters like your Jameses and all that. But, you know, what are you going to do? He had D tier. What the fuck are you going to do? Grunt? Or Grunt! Okay, come on down. Grunt. Appears in 2, a little bit in 3 as well. I do enjoy Grunt a fair bit. I think he's a pretty funny one. He's basically our son, yeah. He is a Krogan, unlike Rex. Rex is a little different. Rex is this old-ass, 1,000-year-old or so mercenary. He's been around, he's cynical, he doesn't really know too much. And he doesn't have much faith in his people. Grunt is a test tube baby. He is made by a crazy warlord who thinks that the genophage was a good thing because it weaned out the weak, and he wants to build the perfect Krogan. And so we get Grunt because of that. And you have the whole thing that Grunt is basically a fully developed Krogan. Like a full adult that has the mind of a child. Or like a teenager who really likes to kill people. And, I'm trying to think. What else? You have a fun loyalty mission where you go into Chanka. You end up realizing that he's you need to do a puberty ritual. And so you have to kill a bunch of animals. And then you have to fight a fucking Thresher Maw. And then you get shit from the other Krogan who don't think you're real. You know, he's not a credible Krogan. He's not real. He's fake. And then you kill him. And he ends up being embraced in the clan Urnot, which is nice and fun. And then in 3, he'll appear, if he's survives, of course. He will go ahead and appear in, what is it? The mission with Arachni, leading Arlac Company. Forget the name of the planet. That doesn't matter too much. And, depending on how things go, he will he will sacrifice himself so you can make it out alive. Now, if he's loyal, he'll make it out, which is nice. He has some pretty funny lines pretty consistently throughout the games. I like how his arc, you know, feels a little bit rounded out. I like in his final line, because he's not really a touchy-feely sort of guy. You know, he's a Krogan, but he tells you right in the hologram, and he thanks you for getting him out of the tank and letting him, you know, actually be able to live a life. And that, you know, that's a nice little detail. It's a nice little bit of emotional connection. I'm gonna put him in, I guess, B tier. I think B tier feels about right. He's not a full adult. His crest hasn't hard in A. Do I agree with A tier? Do I want to put him in A tier? I'm trying to think. Um... ALV, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. He's our son. He is our son. I don't agree with S tier at all, just because his character arc isn't fully dynamic. If you don't do the side quest, he'll never appear. Grunt is G tier. S or A? No, actually we'll put him in A. It's like a low A to high B, in my opinion. So I'll go ahead, I'll bite the bullet on that. So let's go ahead and move on. See who's next on the wheel. Let's see, who do we got? Morinth! Come on down. So, do you remember when I said that Samara... I think I said this at least, but Samara was trying to kill her murderer daughter? Oh, that's Morinth! You have a choice in Samara's loyalty mission. It's a bit of a weird choice. It's a weird option that you have this. Fuck her. You don't want to fuck her. You do not want to fuck her. Trust me. She is an Ardak Yakshi, which means if you mate with her, you will die. She's a psychopath who has gone around the galaxy for hundreds of years, tricking young people, or maybe old people, I don't know if she discriminates, lures them in, and then kills them for the thrill of a hunt. And you have a choice to save her instead of letting Samara kill her, which is a bit of a bold... It's an interesting choice. I don't know if even if you're going fully renegade, if you'd want to really... Unless you're going fully renegade, why you'd choose to do that? One thing that I love is that after the suicide mission, because, you know, if you talk to her, she tries to flirt with you, he's like, you know what, I think you could handle me. I think you're strong-willed enough that you'd survive. So you can try to romance her. And if you romance her, you fucking die. Doesn't matter if you're male shep, femme shep. If you try to romance her, she will fry your brains out. And then it's a critical mission failure. And you have to reload a save. I think that's fucking hilarious. I like that little detail that they put in. In 3, she is not a presence at all. I think she tries to send some messages to Lessos, to her sisters, but she doesn't appear there. In fact, the only appearance she really makes is on Earth, where she's turned into a banshee. So, there's not a good story arc conclusion for her, but at the same time, she's a fucking genocidal... Not genocidal. She's a murdering psychopath. So you kind of get what you take with her. She becomes a mini-boss, exactly. Yeah, she will literally fuck your brains out. She also does a creepy thing where she impersonates Samara. That said, so she's not a good person at all. But she's pretty interesting, at least. I gotta say, she's an interesting character. Just how undeniably evil she is. And so for that, I'll put her in D tier. It's interesting. I've never kept her alive. I've just seen all this shit on YouTube. I think it's funny that it happens. So Jack becomes a mini-boss. Yeah. It's not if you don't recruit her. It's if you don't save her in 3. We'll get to that when we get to Jack a bit more. But for now, let's spin that wheel. Oh. 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 Let's go. I was worried I'd have to get this wheel calibrated if I didn't get him yet. I mean, alright, let's move on. I don't even have to say anything else. Okay, for real, though. For real. Appears in 1 as a squad mate. Appears in 2 as a squad mate. Appears in 3 as a squad mate. 1 of the 2.5 squad mates in the game, in the whole trilogy, that is present in all 3 games in a squad mate capacity. He's a cop with C-Sec. He's trying to take down Saren, but he's held back by bureaucratic tape, and so he goes with you. And he wants to go out there to, do some real damage, take things into his own hand. The thing I really like about Garrus in Mass Effect 1, I feel like he's one of a few characters who actually really fully developed and has everything kind of going for them in an interesting way. Actually, I'd say most of them are, actually. But he's the most developed in that sense. And you can actually push him towards a more Paragon, do things more by the book, there are rules there for a reason, or more Renegade. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Take him out if you have to. And then that actually kind of does affect what he does in between 1 and 2. So when you meet up with him, he has a different outlook or things that he's done. Then you get to his loyalty mission, where he had a squad, he had a whole team, kind of did his own Shepard thing on Omega, where he's saving the poor, going after the mercs, standing up for the little guy. But he gets betrayed by one of his own. His whole team's dead, and so he wants to take out the one who betrayed him. And you can choose, once again, if you want Garrus to go down this dark path or not. You can let him embrace that renegade side of him, or you can try to pull him back to the light, to the blue side. And then in 3, he's just a verifiable badass. He has commitments with the Turian hierarchy. He's helping efforts on Monet, but as soon as you ask him, hell yeah, I'm joining you. What are you talking about? There was no question about it. He's consistently by your side, no matter what. You talk to him, if he's still alive, in 2, of course. You talk to him about all the tough decisions. And he's more or less by your side no matter what. He might not like some of the decisions you end up making, but he recognizes that you're in a fucking war. You gotta do what you gotta do. And, I like that. He's also romanceable in 2, and it carries on over to 3. And we're actually getting to the main romance for my female playthroughs. What can I say? I love me men with scars, apparently. The romance in 2 it starts off a bit more, sort of flingy, but unlike Jacob, it sort of, climaxes into something a bit more personal, Garrus, he's had so much things go wrong the past 2 years. He wants something to go right. And he's nervous because, you guys are about to, go off and fight with the collectors. And sure, part of this is about testing, his reach, Shepard's flexibility. But at the same time, he does care about Shepard. She's one of the few people who's been there for him throughout it. One of the few friends he has left, and one of the few people he can depend on. So he doesn't want to ruin this. He's worried about not making it, or Shepard not making it. And it's nice. And then in 3, it's also... in 3, you kind of can get right back into things in 3. And Shepard... And, you have the bottle shooting scene, which whether you're playing male Shep or femme Shep, romancing or not, it's a great scene, without a doubt. I know a lot of people have a harder time debating the morals of whether you shoot the bottle or not over whether the genophage is a good idea. It's a good idea to cure the genophage or not. It's a harder decision to a lot of people, at least. Oh yeah, he and Tali can't... if you don't romance Garrus or Tali, actually, end of the mission right before you go on to Earth, you can see them starting to bromance a little bit. I romance both of them whenever I'm playing my games anyway, so that's, that is what it is there. I'm trying to think. He's there with you to the very end. He'll stick with you for the tough decisions. He's your bro. He's your best friend throughout it. His goodbye on the ship, when you evacuate him on Normandy right on Earth, he will stick in you as well, exactly. It's not quite as emotional as Tali's is for me, but it's still pretty good. And then the goodbye at Earth, it's pretty nice. So Garrus Vicarian, my favorite Turian on the Citadel. Pissed off we didn't get a romance scene with him. I wanted to see his, well, that's, you can imagine. We come back. Looks like we got Kasumi Goto coming back. Bacterians and Quarians are most biologically similar. I don't know about that one. I know they can eat the same food. Well, I think there are only two species who can't eat the same food. Kasumi. It is the same issue I have with Zaid. I like what she has, but there's not really enough of it. She's one of the other two DLC characters in Mass Effect 2. This one you have to pay for no matter what. She's a thief, one of the best thieves in the galaxy. She asks you, it's your conditional thing, to help her out rather, with a heist she has to do to get her partner's gray box back because he died. And this asshole does it. So, you have what is probably my favorite loyalty mission. It is a dead-ass, classic Ocean's 11 Italian job-style heist. You have a suit, you move around. It can go a couple different ways. In the initial phase, it's not a shoot mission at all. You don't come with guns initially. And then you just got to kind of figure out your way into the vault. Then you do get your guns. You have a shootout. Just you and Kasumi. It's a nice one. And there's a pretty interesting choice we have to choose between destroying the gray box with all that important information, or letting her keep it, but also possibly to put a target on her back. And there's a lot of interesting possibilities with that. And unfortunately, they don't really pan out in 3 that much. Same problem with Zaid. They can't do too much with her because they put a lot of energy into a DLC character with a small time frame they had to develop free. It takes away from other more important things. And yeah, there's a side mission where ALV's talking about you have the Rogue Hanar. So you have to take out the big stupid jellyfish. And if Kasumi's there, she'll make it so you can keep both assets no matter what. I played through the trilogy a couple times without the DLC, so I was used to not having Kasumi to help me there. So it was kind of neat to see her once I got her, kept her alive, and managed to see her there, but I'll put her in C. I like how she has a lot of interesting insight. She's actually one of the few people who will actually realize, wait, if you end up saving Morinth, everyone will think, oh yeah, just tomorrow, everything's back to normal. Kasumi, I think, is one of the few people who realizes something is up, and I think she even fully realizes Shepard. What the that's Morinth. What? I don't know what you were thinking, but don't stick it in crazy, dude. You're gonna die if you do that. 0 out of 10 can't romance Hanar. Zaid was right, Hanar are mean chokers. Oh yeah, apparently. Can't romance Kasumi. Which is a bit of a shame. I would have actually been interested in a romance there, but what are you gonna do? I guess her heart is, she's stuck in the past with KG. And trying to hit on Jacob, which, judging by his track record, I mean, yeah, he has a fiance, but, I mean, he doesn't seem to have a problem with leaving Shepard, so maybe she still has a shot yet. So, who knows? So, let's go ahead and see who we have next. Yeah, the Doctor. Bryn. Oh? Damn it, I was looking forward to talking to Morden. About Morden. Drac. Remember he was more or less my favorite squad mate? Roughly in Andromeda? I'll be honest, that's not really saying too much. I don't remember that much about Drac, other than he just kind of felt like their answer to Rex. There's a bit more depth. He'll not talk to you if you do a certain decision, which I can't fucking remember off the top of my head. If you make a certain decision, he'll just be mad at you. And eventually we're like, okay, yeah, I'll get over it. And when you try to make nice with him, you're like, okay, no, listen. We're cool and all, but I can't fully trust you after you made that one decision. Which is interesting. I do like that little element. But, yeah, the scouts, that's it. Thank you. If you save the scouts over, what is it, a Pathfinder? Not digging that. But, shit, it's probably more interesting with Squadmates, but I just didn't feel that much of a connection to it. Part of it's probably because I've only played Andromeda once. I've only played it once. So I haven't had a full experience like I have with all the rest of his characters. He's like Rampa in the chat. I want to believe you, but he's the most Chad of the Andromeda Squadmates. I've had an experience with Andromeda, so it is what it is there. So that was kind of quick, actually, which is good, because I don't want this to take too long, because we also have the other tier list to get to. Let's go ahead, spin this wheel. And Morden! Let's go! Morden Solus. Dr. Morden Solus, excuse me. Solarian Doctor. Former STG. All-around badass. Well, Drax just got C tier. Yeah, Morden has the best, and he might have the best arc outright in the game. He did some work on the Genophage redeployment, because with Genophage was starting to wear off, so he worked on a program to keep the rates low again. And you see how he kind of rationalizes it away with science, and I'm not killing them, I'm just preventing more births. But you can see with his loyalty mission when he goes down to Chanka to try to save his friend, his former colleague, that he's confronted with what all that really entailed. All the damage that was done there, and you see him have, a bit of a crisis of faith. And, to see really what his science does. Exactly. He tries to rationalize it, and he does even an okay with it, but the more he sees what actual impacts he has, the less he can do it. And so by the time you get to 3, he's leading the effort to cure the Genophage. And he wants to make it his life's work, because he's getting up there in years. He wants to make up for it. And so he's a crucial part in the main story. He's probably one of the most important characters, most important squad mates in the trilogy. So if he dies in 2, it's a little screwed. And so in 3, I will get that in the second ALV. Thank you for pointing that out. In 3, eventually you get to Chanka, and you have a shroud, which is a method of deployment, and you have to fit. Morden has to go up there to deploy the cure, because has to be him. Someone else might get it wrong. Now, if you've been considering sabotaging it, and you try to stand by it, I'll explain the first one first. If you let him go up there, he'll say goodbye. You can try to stop him, but he's like, Shepard, have to do this. And then he'll go up. He will, goddamn, I'm getting emotional already thinking about it. He goes up to the burning tower, deploy the cure, and he sacrifices his life to give hope to another species. And especially if you did a certain thing in Mass Effect 2, there's a certain click. If you let him sing a little Gilbert and Sullivan song, he'll start singing it while he's working on the cure. And It gets me. It really does. And then, if you want to sabotage the cure, Morden, in most circumstances, is going to say, no, I'm not going to let that happen, Shepard. And so he will go to try to save the cure anyway, to deploy the cure anyway. So you have to shoot him. And you shoot him, he falls into the elevator, he hits it, he makes it to the top, and it's probably the fucking hardest thing I have to watch. It's the hardest death you have to watch in the trilogy if you go this path. He crawls over to try to get to the panel and try to deploy the cure. He's like, not like this. And he starts typing, but then it blows up on him and the tower's out. It's fucking brutal. You can also save him. You have to basically make sure the Krogan are fucked. Rex has to be dead. Eve has to be dead. You have to throw away the data, and then you convince him, listen, this Reeve guy's fucking insane. It's not a good idea to help him out yet. And he's like, shit, you're right. Yeah, fair point. But he has some of the funniest moments in 2. Kipsu's been mentioning it a little bit. Depending on who you're romancing, he will give you advice on how to proceed with the procreational activities. Which is funny. I really enjoy that. He sings Gilbert and Sullivan. He consistently has, I think, both the funniest, but also some really insightful discussions on the Collectors, his work on the Genophage. He's probably one of the more interesting ones. Whenever I'm playing through the games, I always like to listen to Morden. I go through all of his conversations, just because he has some really interesting scientific insights. And if he's dead in 2, his colleague takes over. Yeah, Wix. I always keep Morden alive, but I've seen some footage with Paddock Wix. And I think the worst thing you can say about Morden is that it prevents you from seeing Paddock Wix, because Paddock Wix is actually a pretty cool character, I gotta say. Yeah, really interesting. Into saving the curing the genophage, but for uniquely different reasons. 3 advices eat and modify your hips to accommodate the pilot. Right. Oh, that's a great... He's just full of great lines. He has a nice relationship with Eve/Bakara, the sick Krogan. It's really nice to see. It's S tier. There's no real doubt in my mind. It is an S tier pick right there. So let's go ahead and move on. I wish we could have romanced joke. That would have been funny. Who do we got? Javik. There we go. Javik, the last of the Protheans. Truly kind of tragic figure. He's in cryostasis. He wakes up 50,000 years later. Appears in 3. You need a DLC originally for it. In Legendary Edition, you don't have to worry about that, thankfully, because it was kind of shitty that they locked not only a Squadmate, who was basically on the disc in day 1, basically day 1 DLC. It was shitty, but just a character of that importance, the last known Prothean, on DLC. But he wakes up after seeing the last moments of his people, maybe not fully realizing it, and then he wakes up 50,000 years later. All of his people are dead. He is the last left. There's another cycle going on already. These fucking primitives are walking around. It's like if we woke up 50,000 years later, we find out humanity's dead, and now the fucking... I don't know, the dolphins are running shit. You'd be thinking, what the fuck? What the fuck happened? Paddock believes Krogan are biologically most dominant race of nature and right, it's some weird evolutionary thing. And if we're giving, if you're giving actually crap about being a space racist, come on, Javik. He is one of the most deadpanly funny characters. There's obviously the tragic element to his story. He has some funny lines throughout it. He's pretty much a must bring along, in my mind, along with the Thessia mission. You have to bring Liara there anyway, but in my mind, you kind of have to bring Javik because you get so much unique dialogue related to it, and it is a great pick. Yeah, Liara fangirls him. It's fascinating. You have a choice near the end wherever you let him touch the Echo Shard, and he gets a taste of his people again, but he also gets to remember all the pain that he went through in the war. Or you can just let it be out. You got the... you have all these great moments with Solarians threatening to throw Joker out of the airlock. His comments to Tali. Really fucking everyone. They're just great. And, I think my only problem that prevents me from putting him too high is you only get one game to really fully experience him. So it's a similar issue with James. And that said, I think Javik is a much more in-depth character, plus he's a Prothean. That's fucking awesome. We get to hang out with a fucking Prothean. That's sick. So Javik is an A tier. Oh, let's see. He's confused about lizard cuisine food walking around. Exactly. Though it's sad about his character arc. It is. It is a sad arc. But it's a good arc, too. Exactly. If you let him experience the memories after the war, he's thinking, might just go kill myself. I was gonna make a suicide joke, but I'm gonna try to ease off on those. I don't want to concern anyone. So, Javik A tier. There we go. Games originally had different ideas about what they looked like. Right, I think they explained that away with the Inusanan. Who do we got? Miranda or Kaidan? Kaidan! The other half of the Vermeer duo. The first squadmate you start off with, sort of along with Jenkins, but we all know what happens to Jenkins. R.I.P. Big Umps. You have to choose between him and Ashley to save on Vermeer. And I think it's sort of a reverse sort of deal, where Kaidan's kind of less interesting in one, and Ashley's more interesting in one. Well, Ashley is less interesting, or I guess less well developed, and Kaidan's better developed in 3. Kaidan seems like a bit of a stick in the mud. I heard something that actually made me kind of recontextualize Kaidan. He's already been through his character arc. He's a man. You know, he's done his own thing. You know, he's not a child. He's been through things. He's realized, okay, yeah, you know, everyone kind of sucks. Doesn't matter any species. He's the clear head in the room. He's a moral voice, but he's also the logical one. He's someone you can depend on. And then in 2, both kind of suck in 2. But 3 is a little bit more skeptical. Oh yeah, he has the whole biotic thing. He's an L2, so he deals with headaches. So it gives you a bit more of an interesting insight into what the L2 biotics have to deal with. And I've always saved Kaidan. Part of that was just because initially I thought Ashley was, you know, a racist asshole, and I didn't bother with her, so I went with Kaidan. So I have a lot more experience with Kaidan. I think at this point I'm a creature of habit, apparently. And it feels kind of weird without having Kaidan there. And I actually really like how Kaidan develops in 3. He has a bit more of a wit to him. He has a bit more going on. He has some more insight. He talks to a fair bit of the squadmates. Has some interesting dialogue in there, which is interesting. We got to chart with Dragon Age. I've never played Dragon Age, actually. I've not played Dragon Age, so I can't do that one. I am an average habit enjoyer. That is true. I prefer him a bit over Ashley. I think it's more that they kind of dropped the ball a bit with Ashley in 3, and they did a pretty good job with Kaidan, I feel. Kaidan, I feel like he has a good arc conclusion, even though he kind of has an arc concluded. 1, like I said, his story ends pretty well, I have to say. You can also romance him in 1 and 3. 1 and 3 if you're a woman, and 3 if you are a male. I think him and Cortez are the only 2 same-sex options you have for a male Shep. So you have that going for you. He's a old, reliable, nice fella, Canadian. He's a good guy. Good guy. Never romanced him personally. You know, I'm going for real Xenos. You know me. I'm a xenophile, as ALV would put it, I guess. So let's go ahead. I'll put him in B tier. I think B tier feels about right. I think it is. It does feel a little bit unfair putting Ashley and Caden on different tiers because we kind of have the same niche. But I think Caden fits that niche a bit better, and his character feels better. He's also just a great squadmate to have in 3. Fucking great squadmate overall. Can handle biotics, armor, all of that. Great. So, got that done. We got what? We actually have 3 Andromeda squadmates, and then what, 4? Yeah, I can count. That's 4 main trilogy ones. So let's see who we got. Looks like we're staying with the original trilogy, guys. Jack! Woo! Alright, Jack. First appears in ME2. The Psychotic Biotic. Been through fucking horrific stuff. Acts like a hot shit. Your average edgy teenager. Then you find out, oh man, she's been brutally treated as a child. She's been put through hell by Cerberus. Plus, not to mention everything after Cerberus, which gets pretty nasty. So her loyalty mission is she wants to fucking blow up the facility where she was tortured for the formative years of her life. Which, you know, fair enough. You get a bit of a character development on how you want to push Jack, whether you want to push her to, you know, forgive and forget her past, you know, get over it through forgiveness, or get over it through revenge. Which is a fun little thing. In 3, you see her become a teacher, and she takes up a defensive role for her kids, and she really cares about them, and so, you know, you get to see that dynamic with her, which is nice to see. She's also a romance option for male Sheps, starting in 2 and goes a bit into 3, though not fully developed. I'll be honest, one of the big issues I have with Jack is that it feels like if you don't romance her, you don't really get a full character arc. It feels like, because the romance, you have the option to just have a one-night stand with her. And then, you know, you go on with that. Then you basically, if you don't do that, you can choose to, I saw a few clips of romance. You basically tell her, you know, she's like, I don't want to do this. I've been through too much shit. And Shepard's like, we've all been through shit. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, you come on. And so eventually, you know, I think before suicide mission, you know, she comes up, starts crying, has her full character development, which is locked beyond a romance option. Granted, if I romanced Shepard, I'd feel more fulfilled, so I suppose that makes sense in a way, but it doesn't feel right that the core, a big chunk of her character development, is locked behind a romance. And also, she just doesn't have that big of an impact in 3. If you don't save the kids, and if you don't do the rescue mission in Grissom Academy, she ends up being abducted by Cerberus. So pretty messed up way to end for her arc to end, but it's also interesting. And you see her in the Cerberus space. I believe she's a phantom. You have to put her out of her misery. It's rough. It's not a good way to end her arc there, but you have different options. So Jack, I'll put her in B tier. I like Jack, but I don't like that you have to romance her to... It feels like you have to romance her to get the full scope of her character development. Which, yeah. There's a real love-hate relationship with Miranda and Jack. Ah, yeah. The flirting... Not flirting, the relationship with them, you know, it gets fucking hectic in 2, obviously. You can lose their loyalty if you can't pass the checks. But, instead of the DLC, it gets kind of fun, and I like that. What else do we got? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that's really it for Jack. There we go. Who do we got next? Liam. Don't applaud him. I really don't like Liam. He fucking sucks. He's not interesting. He's kind of an obnoxious asshole. His loyalty mission is hilarious. I like his loyalty mission a lot, but everything else about Liam, he can go suck a dick. He really can. He's obnoxious. He doesn't listen to your orders. He puts you in fucking stupid situations. And when you think, you know, at the end, I remember, you know, you have this big glorious moment, and you basically save, you know, the initiative. And you're like, hey man, let's celebrate. It's like, we can't celebrate. We haven't done anything yet. We have to keep working. We've done nothing. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you asshole. Fuck you. We just did a lot. You can go fuck off. So I will defend almost any of these squad mates. Yeah, Morinth is higher. Morinth is more interesting, at least. Liam is... he's like a stick in the mud. It's like they took... they looked at people like Caden or Jacob. And they asked, okay, we want to do something like these two. But we want to make him more boring. And we also want to make him more annoying as well. Remember, I was actually trying to replay Andromeda. And I just heard one line that made me just put my hands up and say, fuck it, I'm not playing this anymore, fuck this. It's the first mission where you have Cora and Liam, and you're doing stuff. And, you know, I think it's that shootout before your dad dies, you know, while he's doing the thing. And Liam has a line where he says, huh, that guy's eye looks like he's upset. Probably because I shot him in the face. Like that's the worst fucking line I have ever heard in this trilogy, in this series. It is a fucking horrible line. Fuck you, Jacob. No, fuck you. Jacob, you're okay. Fuck you, Liam. Fuck you. And Cora's hotter and biotic, Ashley. Sort of. Devs try to write funny, but Dogboat isn't convinced. I mean, the devs do funnier way better. Liam sucks. Liam is unholy Frankenstein of Jacob and Caden. Oh, two interesting ones, either or. Okay, Liara. Liara to Sony. One of the 2.5 squad mates you can have throughout the whole trilogy. She's the 0.5. Because she's not a squad mate in the main game, but if you have a Lair of Shadowbroker DLC, you can go ahead and recruit her there. She starts off in 1 as an archaeologist in Therum, Prothean expert. Her mother is Saren's right-hand woman. And, so that makes things a little awkward with that family reunion if you bring her along. And she's romanceable throughout the main 3 games. I guess I'll go over briefly her arc. In 2, you find out that she's the one who saved you from the Collectors. She's very, very awkward in 1. In 2, she's a cold-hearted information broker. And she helps you figure out information on, Samara and Thane. And then if you have a DLC, or for Legendary Edition, because that's included, you can go and chase down the Shadow Broker with her, because it turns out she went through some issues with him while she was trying to save Shepard. And so you have that whole arc where, you have that, probably one of the best DLCs. It's my favorite DLC in 2. Story-wise, it's probably tied with that and Overlord. Although the stuff after Blade of Shadow Broker is pretty good. Well, Overlord is just one and done. She takes up the role of Shadow Broker. Takes up this big responsibility, and by 3, she's working to help find a way to stop the Reapers, and she's your information ear. She's your ears and eyes across the galaxy. I see a lot of people are saying S tier. I'll talk about the romance real quick. I've romanced her a few times in 1, just to get the achievements done for that. And it's... I think I've said this before, I don't like any of the romances in Mass Effect 1. And I'll be fully honest, I kind of think Liara is annoying as shit in Mass Effect 1. I don't like Liara at all in 1. Now, in Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, I like her a lot. I like how she develops. I think her character arc is fascinating. It's nice to see her grow up into the mature woman she is. That said, in Mass Effect 1, I don't like her. I really don't. I'm sorry. I know Liara is a very popular romance pick. I understand why. She's available for the male options, the female options. There's a lot of great options, You have options. It's fully developed, but it also feels a little bit forced down your throat. I mean, she literally saves you from death. Actually, you're already dead. She helps you become brought back to life. I find it a little bit annoying that it feels a little like they're trying to force Liara down your throat. A bit. That said, I do like Liara. I really do. And so she is a high tier. Depending on the day, I would say a low S, but I think with all the things I've said, all the praises on S tier, she's a flawed A tier. She's a flawed A. She was a lesbian option and 1 and 2. Yeah. She's been a consistent same-sex option. Well, in 3, it opens up in 3 for the women, and, there's only like 2 options in the trilogy, in all the games, at the end of them for male Shep, so, it is what it is there. Yeah, only lesbian option, yeah. Except Kelly, which is a bit of an asterisk if you count it as a romance. But, don't get me wrong, I like Liara. Don't send me any death threats. I like Liara. I understand why you put her in S tier. But, I just have some apprehensions because I don't romance her. And, I don't like how you accidentally romance people in 1. That's also something that annoys me. So, We got 4 more options. 2 in Andromeda. 2 in the OT. Jal? Alright, Jal. Fuck, what? Here's the problem, I don't remember really anything about Jal. I remember seeing a scene from his romance where he takes his shirt off, and I was very unimpressed. I almost dare say I was kind of disgusted. I'm trying to think. He's S tier. I mean, I'm impressed you remember that much about him. I've only played 1 game right when the game came out. I don't remember that much. I think there's a loyalty mission where you're supposed to let the guy shoot him because he ends up missing, and then it just makes him look like a I don't know. He has the weird teddy bear thing going on, I remember. I don't know if I really liked him. I don't remember that much about Jal, I'm sorry. To all the Andromeda fans, I'm sure there's probably a... I don't know. Ah, shit. Sorry, ALV. Nightbot's being weird. Just give it a second. I just don't remember him that well. I don't want to put him in F tier because that's exclusive to Liam only. I don't remember them that well though. That wasn't me. That was Nightbot. That was an automated thing. It wasn't me or any of the mods. It was just Nightbot. Yeah. Jal, D tier. I just don't remember that much. That's gonna take too long. I kind of want to get through this and get to the TNO one. So we got 3 more options. Let's see who's gonna be left for last. Oh, I know who's next at least. Vetra. Woo! Oh shit! What the fuck? ALV, what are you trying to send? I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, Vetra. I actually do remember a couple things about her. She is the Andromeda version of Garrus. So she's... You know, I mean, a watered-down version of Garrus is still Garrus. So, you know, I'll take that. Oh, no. He's been... Can one of you mods untime out him? He got timed out for 600 seconds. Oh, no. One of you guys figure that out, please. I think if I went back, I'd probably romance Vetra. She's not the first female Turian. Not even first female Squadmate. You have, Nyreen in the, Omega DLC. But she's the first one that I think most people will encounter who didn't get the DLC. She's okay. You have the thing with her sister. She's trying to keep her going. You have the whole rogue thing. A lot of it feels like a Garrus clone. But hey, I'll take a Garrus clone. Garrus is cool. So I'll put her in C tier. I didn't romance her in my one game. If I had to play another game, I'd probably romance her again instead of... And I think I did Cora. Yeah. There we go. So we've got 2 more options left. Place your bets in chat, boys, about who is going to be the last we talk about. We're saving some pretty good ones for last, so I'm happy. Maybe not the best, but some pretty good ones. Oh, spoilers, I guess. They're not. I don't think they're the best, but... Oh. Oh, shit, I did not... There we go. Legion. Oh, Dry, you were off. It's alright. Okay, Legion. Appears pretty much at the end of 2. A Gef Squadmate. Can't only imagine how fucking mind-blowing that was for everyone who got the game the start of 2. You know, we played through 1, got it when 2 was released, played through it, and realized, holy crap, we can have a Gef Squadmate? Because the Gefs were the bad guys of 1. You think they're these kind of mindless drone baddies, and then you get Legion to kind of throw everything on its head. It's cool. He has some really interesting insight to how the Geth work. The Geth are really interesting to me just because they're a synthetic race. They're robots. They're computer programs. They want a computing program. So hearing him explain how the Geth kind of work, it's a fascinating process. He's also undeniably one of the most impactful characters. If he dies... In 2, the whole Quarian Geth peace potential is fucked. And in 3, sadly, he's sort of doomed to die. Which I don't... The way they kind of explain his death doesn't make the most sense to me, I'll be honest. But, it is what it is. If he ends up giving Geth true intelligence, whether peace is achieved or not, he has to sacrifice his... He has to break down his... operating system or his platforms or something in order to make it that you know, as people can achieve intelligence. So it's a noble sacrifice. It just never really made the most sense to me, how they explained it. And then if you side with Quarians, he'll try to stop you. And then Tali's there, you know, she'll help you out. And then he asks, does this unit have a soul? Which is a rough bit. It really is. But it gives you some fascinating insight about how they want it. You know, he gives you insight about how the Geth wanted peace and they're willing to come to peace because no one thought that. But no one even considered it a possibility. And then here you are. Here Legion is, and he tells you all of his stuff about it. Now, you don't get much time with him in 2. What time you have is great. And then you meet him about middle 3. What time there you get is great, except for one, I guess 2 of his endings. The one where, you know, you have to kill him is kind of nice. Not in... it's a nice... It makes more sense, I guess. That's a better way to put it. So, I love Legion, but I can't quite justify putting him in S tier. Gotta put him in BA tier. And then, okay, boys, who do you think it's gonna be? Who is it going to be? Oh. Miranda! Let's go! Interesting. I won't say the best for last, but probably one of the best for last. Appears in 2, one of the first 2 squadmates you have in Mass Effect 2. Basically the woman who helps put you back together. Genetically engineered to be perfect. Has some serious daddy issues. And sort of by proxy mommy issues because she was basically made with only her dad's genes. Which is kind of weird. She was made to be perfect, and so everyone expects her to be fucking perfect. So she has that weird expectations on her. Her loyalty mission is nice, where you have to go ahead and there's pressure to, you know, you have to help her, what is it? You have to help her find her sister and make sure she's relocated safely. And then there's a romance there. I haven't done it, but it's not a bad one. Moving on to 3. She's on the run for Cerberus. She left the organization. She's trying to find her sister because she's gone off the grid. You can come across her a couple of different times before Horizon. And she's actually one of the harder ones to keep alive. You can keep her alive, but it can be a bit complicated if you don't do anything. Oh, thank you, Kipsu. Thank you. I'm sorry, Elvie. I hope you're still there. I hope everything's okay. I'm sorry Nightbot is being weird. I'll figure that out in between these tier lists. She's going after her sister. Now, I gotta say, if there was one more squadmate we could have in Mass Effect 3, like any of the ones who appeared in 2 initially and move over to 3, I would honestly want Miranda in there, because I think she would have some good potential as a squadmate. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. 1, because Mass Effect 3 was rushed in its development cycle. It's a miracle it came out as decent as it did. And then 2, I believe the actress was busy, I think, with a couple of her shows, and so she couldn't do too much and have enough time dedicated to the squadmate role, which is a shame. But I like Miranda. I do like Miranda. So, A tier feels about right, and that's where we're going. So, moving on, let's go from top to bottom. Top tier: Tali, Rex, Garrus, Mordin. A tier: Thane, Edie, Grunt, Javik, Liara, Legion, Miranda. Ellie, glad you're back. Oh yeah, Booty. That's that. I guess that's a pro for Miranda. I don't know. We got B tier: Samara, James, Caden, Jack. C tier: Ashley, Zaid, Kasumi, Drac, Vetra. D tier: Cora, PB, Jacob, Morinth, and Jal. And then fuck it. after this fucking asshole. He who should not be named. There we go. Miranda's actress in The Handmaid's Tale. Really? Okay. I'll have to check that one out. Been told to check it out. So, that's the tier list for everyone watching on YouTube. If you agree with it, or if you have some slight disagreements, feel free to tell me. Please try to be constructive about it, but I appreciate any feedback, any disagreements, anything like that. I'll leave in the comment section. We can talk about it. Hopefully we can have some fun. I'm on Discord. I mainly do strategy game videos, but I'm planning to do something with maybe Mass Effect 2. So if you're interested in that, hit that sub button, notification bell even. Also, if you're just interested in strategy game videos, go ahead and check it out. Yeah, I think this video's been going on for a while anyway, so I might as well just cut it here. I don't want to go for too much longer. But thank you guys, and I'll see you next time for whatever tier list I make, or for whatever video I decide to watch next. So goodbye.